Hi everyone, I'm John C. Morley, the host of the JMOR Tech Talk Show and Inspirations for Your Life. Well, hey everyone, it is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur, and you're tuned into the JMOR Tech Talk Show. Good evening or early morning to you guys. I want to tell you we have a great show tonight and lots of great information. If you are new here to the JMOR Tech Talk, well, you're going to see there's a QR code at the top right. Go ahead and scan that QR code. They'll get you to my link tree with lots of great information about the show and lots of other content that I produce. Or you can go to believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing creations. So let's get right into the show, shall we? All right, this is going to be a pretty amazing show, and I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a lot happening in the world right now. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. But there's a lot happening, and you, yes, are watching the JMOR Tech Talk Show, our show 30 on July 29th. So let's just get right into it, shall we? All right. Well, France's privacy watchdog questions Worldcoin's legality of biometric data. Ouch! This is not a good thing. So what are they actually doing? I mean, where did this even stem from? Because I think this is definitely a big problem. And we've talked about this before, that security is something that a lot of people are starting to, take for granted. And I want to talk about this because this is important. So, France's watchdog is questioning the legality of WorldCoin's biometric data collection. Ouch, that's bad. On the 28th, France's privacy watchdog CNIL said that it was aware of ChatGPT's founder Sam Altman's WorldCoin project and that the legality of its biometric data collection seems, quote unquote, questionable. And WorldCoin, which launched on the past Monday, requires users to provide their iris scans in exchange for digital ID and, in certain countries, free cryptocurrency. Its website says it has signed up 2.1 million people, mostly in the trial over the last 2 years. And WorldCoin has set up sign-up sites in various locations around the world where people can get their faces scanned by a shiny spherical orb. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a bad thing because, the fact that, we have this concern tells me that people are not operating in the best interest of everyone in the world. And I want to set a quote here from WorldCoin Foundation. They said, quote, "The WorldCoin Foundation complies with all laws and regulations governing the processing of personal data in markets where WorldCoin is available," close quote. I don't know. I mean, that's just a come on statement. I don't know if I really believe them, but I have to tell you, I think the idea of forcing people to use their eye scans, I think that's a problem. And I think if people get forced to use certain information, then I feel that that might be something that hinders everyone. And the fact that they're going to make that data, be available. The question I have is, are they selling that data to anybody? It's a problem. And CNIL, the French watchdog, questioned this capturing of the biometric data. And CNIL's email response to Reuters, who actually did the story, had investigated the investigation, which revealed that Bavarian state authority in Germany has jurisdiction, and the Bavarian authority has since been conducting the investigation with support from the CNIL, the watchdog had added. So the question is, are they doing something wrong or not? Everything's about money. And I feel that if this data falls into the wrong hands, we're not only talking about exposing people to a risk, but we're also going to expose a culture to risks. And I think that's a serious, serious problem, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's jump on to the next great topic. Yes, for the first time, new tech enables a paralyzed man to move and feel again. This, ladies and gentlemen, I think is absolutely amazing. I mean, technology that allows him to walk and feel again. I think that's amazing. And basically, researchers surrounded a 45-year-old gentleman named Keith Thomas, and their eyes were fixed on his right hand. Open, open, open. They urged, cheering when his fingers fluttered out to mirror an image on a computer screen, and again when they began to curl back inward. So this is pretty amazing. And Thomas, who was paralyzed from the chest down after a diving accident in 2020, is now able to move his hand again thanks to a cutting-edge clinical trial led by researchers from Northwell Health's Feinstein Institute for Medical Research in New York. Now, does this mean he'll be able to walk someday? Maybe. But I mean, this is a major milestone for someone that was paralyzed and now is able to continue to live life. So I think this is an amazing story, and I feel that we're going to see more stories like this because medical innovations, ladies and gentlemen, let's face it, they are making such um, a dramatic change in our world. And the fact that, this man was able to make these uh, recoveries is just priceless. And new technology is using AI, has restored some of the movement and feeling to a paralyzed man's hand. So AI is responsible for this. And this was actually seen on CBS Mornings. So I feel that this is a step in the right direction. I feel that, the fact that we can use technology to empower people or to give them back the senses that they don't have or that they lost, I think that's just amazing. And, knowing what happened with this new groundbreaking technology, I think it's remarkable. It's remarkable, and I think the people that have come up with this technology should definitely be applauded because you're talking about technology that's allowing this man to literally be able to start enjoying life in a more fulfilling way. Now, although he can't walk yet, but he can maneuver around and he can feel. So, uh, the comment that Thomas said, I think is really priceless. And I quote, "It's indescribable to be able to feel something." That's just like got the doctors, got the researchers so excited. Like their expression is like they don't know what to do. They're happy, but they're really surprised. And he started in the Bhutan's lab in 2021, and he couldn't lift his arms off his wheelchair frame. And for about a year, to help Bhutan and his team get a sense of his baseline post-accident function, Thomas' primary task was to watch hands moving on a computer screen and try to copy their motions. Much to his frustration, his body couldn't match the mind's commands. And it changed after a 15-hour surgery in March of 2023, which neurosurgeon Dr. Ashish Mahata placed 5 tiny fragile electrode arrays in the hyper-specific region of Thomas's brain that control motion and feeling in his right hand and fingers. To confirm he'd found the right spots, Maheta awakened Thomas during surgery and stimulated those areas of the brain. Immediately, he says, Thomas could feel some of his fingers for the first time in almost 3 years. It was a very good feeling, Hedda says. Now, this is just one of those stories that I feel it's priceless. And now Thomas thinks about moving and imagining himself squeezing a bottle for the first time. We take for granted the fact that we can pour something or that we can balance or that we can walk. But regardless of whether it's using electrical stimulus or not, he's able to do things he couldn't do before. And the computer decodes these messages and sends signals to the electrodes placed on Thomas's skin, which allows him to feel that stimulation. This is remarkable. And the process may be harder on some days than others, but Thomas says it's not always clear why. But after all these months of staring at hands, and Thomas can finally move them, I mean, that's just so amazing that they could do that. And Thomas is also regaining a sense of feeling now when he touches an object or person. Sensors on his skin send a signal to the computer, which then communicate with the arrays in his brain, and he can now feel a hand or a feather stroking the sensors on his fingertips. Touch doesn't feel exactly how it did before the accident. Thomas describes it as a burst of energy, but it is progress. So remember, we're using technology to stimulate parts of the body. So it's like we're making a bridge or a connection by using, what's coming into, let's say, the body, whether it's fingers, other parts of the body. And think of it like the sensors. They're picking up what's happening, and then they are sending that to the part of the brain that would normally be responsible for feeling it. Now, because it isn't exactly, happening, like naturally, there is some technology involved. There is no wonder to why he may not feel it exactly, but he is so happy just to be able to experience life in an amazing, amazing way. And I couldn't be more grateful for what they've done and for him. And I wish him all the best, because being paralyzed is no fun. I can't relate to being paralyzed because thankfully I've always been well, but I can relate to being temporarily unable to walk and unable to get around. And I still had my feeling, but I wasn't able to walk. Being in a cast, breaking my tib and fib, that's nothing compared to what he went through. And then, when my feet had atrophied, my leg had atrophied, I should say, and having to wait from February to June 12th to my cast came off. I still remember that day in my head. And when that cast came off, all I thought about is I had no feeling in my leg. And I was able to move it, but I had like no feeling other than the fact I could move my leg, but I wasn't really feeling things. And I was like, oh, it's like, okay, this is normal. The leg atrophied. I hadn't been using it for a while. It's going to come back. And a couple hours, it did. But that was a little scary. Not being able to feel something in your body. So I think this is a really exemplary accomplishment for him and for all the doctors, and they should be really, really proud. Thomas' spirits are way up, and he says now that he can see his accomplishments during his twice weekly visits to the Feinstein Institutes, which he spends cracking jokes and listening to his favorite musician, Harry Styles. Thomas is motivated to keep going both by his own gains and by the promise of pioneering a technology that could someday help others, he says. So I think this is amazing. And widespread adoption of neural bypass technology, which is what this is something that we never thought was possible, and now it is. And I could just think about the tears of joy he probably had the moment he felt that. He hopes to have more people benefiting in the future. Bhutan is also working on a separate non-invasive system meant to stimulate movement through electrodes placed on the skin, no surgery required. And Bhutan says such a product could be a good fit for people with less extensive paralysis, and such as those who have suffered stroke or don't want to undergo brain surgery. I mean, I just looking at him and his spirits, he looks amazing. And again, I just want to reach out and say thank you to all the doctors, and really very happy for him that he's able to feel. Maybe not as well as he did before, but he's able to feel. And, I think that's got to be amazing. I mean, we take every day for granted, a lot of us, that we can get up, that we can walk, that we can drink, that we can see, that we can sit down, that we can go use the bathroom. I mean, all these things are part of our life and we take them for granted. So I want to just tell you that we need to be grateful for everything we have in our life. And you know what? The things that we have will stay with us when we're grateful for them. Because being grateful and being humble, this brings me almost to tears. Just knowing when I was on the bus, I think they call it like a paratransit, and I had a temporary dispensation from the doctor allowing me to get on this bus because I couldn't drive. I could not put my left foot down. I was not in a state to drive. And being in a wheelchair and knowing what that's like from the moment of getting up in the morning and wearing let's say pants that were like more like call them rip-off pants like you'd wear for like basketball games, and having two sets of those, not taking a shower, taking a sponge bath as best I could, and then just being able to get past that point and have some food, and then get in my wheelchair and go outside. And that might not sound like a lot to some people, but I got to tell you, and I know this isn't really what this show's about, but I am Roman Catholic, and I do want to thank God and our Lord for healing me and allowing me to walk again and doing this all without surgery. So, when I was on that bus and I had that temporary dispensation, everyone else on that bus was never going to walk again or going to have full capacity of their bodies. And for me, it was just temporary. So I was grateful that I could have that accommodation, and that every day I felt a little better. I was just myself. My cleaning lady was coming a couple of times extra a week to help me. And just being able to get up and, pour myself some cereal or make myself some lunch, using the oven, getting around, and then getting in my wheelchair and being able to roll to the elevator and go outside and just be able to really be grateful for life. And I think that and my faith is what got me through it, because I got to tell you, that time was not pleasant, but I was able to get through it, and I was able to heal. And I was also able to know that this was temporary and that whatever was going on in my life was going to heal. I remember after getting the cast off, and I remember the first time coming home, and the phone's ringing, and so I remember trying to get to the phone right away and not even thinking about it, putting that left foot down, and like felt a little funny. It didn't hurt, but it felt kind of funny. And then I kind of like paused and I got the phone. I was like, oh, I don't have my full abilities left in that leg yet. So I think that was a part for me that was pretty amazing. How are you, Valza? Just talking about an interesting personal story, and also talking about a man who was paralyzed from a diving accident, how they used brain bypassed with AI technology to help him be able. So, as I was saying here, amazing that he could be able to feel again. It may not be the exact feelings that he had before the diving accident, but at least he's able to feel something. I think that's amazing. And so it took, I'm going to tell you, a good week or two till I was able to literally walk on that foot and put pressure on it. I remember going down the stairs and you know, right now going down the stairs is very easy, but I remember as I was going down the stairs, I would always be putting my both feet to the back of the stairwell to feel where the stair was because I was not confident that I was going to make it to the next step. It was just a very weird feeling, but knowing that it was temporary is something that I was grateful for, and knowing that I could heal without any surgery, that was something I was also extremely grateful for. So uh, I believe a lot of what happens in our life, we have the ability to change our life. And I don't just mean positively, I mean we can heal ourselves in a lot of ways. And I believe through the grace of God and through my prayers and through my belief, I believe I got healed. You know, everyone was ready to do surgery, and I was like, I don't need surgery. I just knew I didn't need surgery. And I did it without surgery. And I'm able to walk, I'm able to jump, I'm able to do all kinds of stuff, run. I feel so great that I healed. But the most important thing for me right now today is the humbleness I have for the ability of being alive and being able to maneuver and do things. There were a lot of challenges and there were setbacks then, but I tried to look at every one of those setbacks as something positive, something I could grow from. And I think that's definitely something I hear that this gentleman is doing. He is definitely, um, Thomas is definitely uh, putting his foot forward and really believing. So, I mean, this is just so amazing. What happened and the condition and how he could be the answer that helps doctors get a solution to other people. So I think that's really great. So kudos to everyone that's working with him. Prayers and thoughts and love to him to recover even more and be able to do more stuff because I believe that with what's going on, he's going to be able to do a lot more. I think it might take a little time, but he's going to be able to hopefully get his full feeling back. Again, this was just a step, but it was a major, major step. And I have to tell you that sometimes, it could be medical, it could be anything. And a lot of times people don't heal. You know why? Because they've given up. This is why sometimes people leave the world early because they've given up. They don't want to fight anymore. Um, they don't have a purpose to want to live. And this is why I say to you guys very, very emphatically, you got to believe before you can achieve. And you got to have things in your life that you look forward to. If you don't, find things, getting up the next morning. Why are you so happy to be alive? Because it's going to be another great day. Because I'm going to get to talk to some amazing people. I'm going to get to have some good experiences. And I'm going to get to grow and learn. And I think that's what every day is about. So that's really what I want to say about that topic because it's quite remarkable. All right. On a different note, more the tech side, e-bike battery fires force for better regulation. What the heck is going on here? Yeah, there was an e-bike battery fire, and definitely is going to cause the campaigners of electrical safety um, first saying that batteries should require third-party approval before the sale. And meanwhile, the London Fire Brigade said, and I quote, it has been called to a fire caused by e-bike batteries on average once every 2 days in 2023. That's way too often, even once too often, right? A quote I want to give you that they said, the huge amount of energy that is released over time when a battery bursts into flames is unlike other fires, close quote, from the electrical safety first chief executive, Leslie Rudd. And a room could be destroyed in a matter of minutes, she had said. So they also said it's a unique type of fire and special measures have to be taken. The UK should adopt regulations similar to rules introduced in New York City and the past March. There are too many people that are rushing to get things to market, rushing to make a quick buck. And I think they got to do things like they said, ban universal chargers altogether. Forget saving a few bucks. We're talking about your life, all right? Introduce a standard for the so-called conversion kits when they're going to be in play to be used to turn regular bikes into e-bikes, requiring the home office to report e-bike and e-scooter fires, a nationwide campaign on e-bikes and e-scooter safety backed by government to include how to charge devices safely, and regulating online marketplaces so we can keep out the gray markets and keep those substandard and dangerous bikes off the street. You might think you're buying a bike that's going to save you a few bucks, right? But really what you're doing is you're buying a bike that might take your life. So I always say when we're talking about safety, we can't put a price on it. When it was a difference between one kind of tire, another kind of tire, if I felt more comfortable with another brand, I went with that brand, even if that brand was more money. Because I knew that having great tires on my car was paramount to my safety. That's really, really what it comes down to. So let's hope that they put some regulations in place and that we don't see any more e-bike fires. We can only hope. But it's sad, ladies and gentlemen, that something has to happen before a government, before a local community, before companies, before people will insist that action is taken. Right? That's the problem. So we as consumers, as business owners, need to send a message saying, hey, what are you guys doing? Talk to your elected officials. We got to make this change now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when more fires happen, because these other fires might take away someone's life, take away more homes. And for what? Because somebody's making a e-bike cheaper? Because somebody bought a charging unit that was substandard for 50% less? Come on. I think we're all smarter than that. And I believe that we all value our lives, and the people manufacturing these things should value not only their lives, which I know they do, but they should have some respect and dignity and responsibility and accountability for what they sell on that market. Too many people push something to the market. I don't care if it's software, I don't care if it's hardware, I don't care if it's a piece of equipment. They do it because they want to make that fast buck. And they do it until it becomes a problem. So let's get these things on track, UK and all around the world. Let's make sure that we put an end to e-bike fires by doing what we can to keep regulations high and make sure that bad actors don't get involved with selling parts that are substandard. All right, let's jump into another great topic. We all know, ladies and gentlemen, Verizon. I'm sure you guys know Verizon. I'm sure you guys know AT&T. Well, something new. Verizon AT&T will start charging customers on legacy plans. So a new monthly charge might be coming your way if you aren't on one of Verizon or AT&T's newest plans. The carriers are again, Verizon and AT&T are both notifying customers on older unlimited plans to expect a new fee on their bill. Customers on Verizon's 5G Start and AT&T's Unlimited Elite plans are affected. And the fees go in effect, guess what? August. So it's time to move from the wireless carrier shenanigans, and let's get the customers to newer service. They want to get people to more profitable plans, but I think what they're doing is horrible. This almost reminds me what happened with Netflix, right? The nonsense when you couldn't use the account for more than one if it wasn't your home, it was the family, but that was crazy. So Verizon customers on Reddit and Twitter reported that the company has just sent notices of a new monthly plan rate adjustment charging of $3 per line. Older plans are affected, as we said, including the 5G Start, which Verizon introduced as Start Unlimited 4 years ago, and it costs $70 per month for a single line. Verizon would very much like customers on that legacy plan to switch to its new unlimited welcome plan, which starts at $60 per month, but doesn't include mobile hotspot data like Start Unlimited. You'll need to add that on for an extra $10 a month. Now, it's no surprise, ladies and gentlemen, that Verizon, AT&T, and all the other providers, they just want to make money. And the reason I know this, be a customer of one of them for a long time, the bill's due on, let's just say, the 7th. They're already notifying us on the 8th that it's late. I mean, come on, guys. I feel the biggest problem I've got with these providers is they're hiring people that are not in the United States. When we have people in our own United States that need jobs desperately, and you're sending it out to some half-baked countries to get them to manage the services when they can't even know the difference between their head and their rear end. I was on the phone with one of them a while back explaining something that was going on, and I explained how they shouldn't be hiring people like you from other countries. They should be going to our own country first. And you know what? He really didn't care. Of course, I expected that kind of an attitude. But shame on you. I'm not going to mention which company, but it's one of the two, Verizon or T-Mobile, that is thinking it's so important that you're going to go sub your services out and give below standards. Can't even get through their stupid phone lines when you call them. And then you get to somebody and they're either rude or they don't understand what you're saying, or you can't understand their dialect. So I just think that they've taken a stance of where they were of being very high to not only going to 1 or 0. I see them starting to be in the negatives, like a -2, -3. And I would rate some of them with a F for customer service. They don't care about customer service. Let's talk about Amazon, for example, right? Amazon does not want you to call them. They want you to use their automated system. That's what they want you to do. It costs them too much money, ladies and gentlemen, when you actually call them. So they prefer that you not call them. And only recently, when I've called Amazon and I would opt out and I asked for a U.S. representative, they now have got a little smug and tell me they can't transfer. We all know that's a big crock of you know what. It's because they're being arrogant. And all I have to say, Amazon and the other companies that are doing this, shame on you. You guys don't deserve to be around. The way you're treating the American people and the type of service you're giving is the worst service. And the way some of these cellular carriers are operating, I mean, sending warning notices that you're going to start getting ready to disconnect somebody for 1 day late. Come on, guys. Somebody that's been with you over 20 or 30 years, treat them a little differently, right? Stop treating everyone like people that just signed up yesterday. That's my message there. So I am really, kind of ticked off with that. And our last story for the night, ladies and gentlemen, is Macs are not invincible. That's right. Macs are not invincible and subject to attack. And so unpatched Mac OS vulnerability lets remote attackers execute code. So it's no longer just Windows anymore. Okay. We've heard of the story that Mac's malware is invincible to ransomware attacks. But actually attacks went up in June. And North Korean actors found to be the ones leading them behind it. One of them being Jump Cloud breach that happened. An estimated 900,000 micro tick routers may be vulnerable to attack due to a new security flaw. And there's a CVE out on it. It's called CVE 2023-30788. Critical vulnerabilities, right? We've all talked about, CVEs. CVEs has been around for a long time. But I just think that people need to get smart. Okay. And, critical vulnerabilities, they're trying to do, what they can. And I feel that we're at least making some progress. But we all knew that Mac was not going to be safe forever. We all knew that. But I feel that they were playing that card too much, saying that Mac is never going to be exploited. Yeah, Mac's never going to be exploited. But yet, they're now at the top of some of the attacks. Okay. And in case you're wondering about the CVE 2023-30788, Monica HQ version 4.0.0 allows an unauthenticated remote attacker to execute malicious code in the application via CSTI in the people add endpoint and nickname description, last name, middle name, and first name parameter. Ouch. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I just feel that people are not taking safety for computers and cyber fraud seriously, and nobody ever does anything until something happens. And common vulnerabilities and exposures has been around for a long time, but everyone thought that the Mac was safe. It's not. Considering the micro TikTok client base includes prominent brands like Saab, Siemens, NASA, and Sprint, to name just a few. This vulnerability could have widespread repercussions if exploited that could generally affect not just the United States, but the world at large. So the U.S. Cybersecurity and the Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, issued an alert for a vulnerability CVE-2023 35078, as we mentioned, found in the Ivanti Endpoint Manager mobile EPMM, and the flaw is being actively exploited and has been used as a means to breach the Norwegian government. So if it's starting to breach government, don't you think we probably should get on the bandwagon and start stopping this? I always said, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a question of if you're going to be attacked, but when, if you're not properly protected. Not a question of if, but when, if you're not properly protected. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, and it's an amazing pleasure to be with you guys every single time that I'm here on JMOR Tech Talk or on a variety of the other amounts of content that I put out. And that could be things like, my talk shows, podcasts, Super Motivational Friday, John the Science Guy, JMOR Tech Talk, JMOR Tech Reviews, JMOR Unboxing. There's a lot of stuff. And also, ladies and gentlemen, you know I post articles twice a week. My last 2 articles, you definitely want to check them out. Evolution of the financial industry from grain banks to AI. We started with, grain and cattle. Then we went on to coin, which became a problem. Then we moved on to paper because the Chinese brought that up. And then we moved into digital. And now we're going into AI banking. Is AI banking really going to cause a problem? I believe it is, because a lot of financial institutions are rushing ahead, but they're not following standards. And with the head of security of OpenAI stepping down because he said he was going to spend time with his family, which was a real crock, I think he just doesn't want to take the responsibility that's going to be coming forth with AI as it's going to be unfurling to the world. And my other article is why release control will give you more of it. There's about 7 to 9 types of power, and these types of power leaders exploit. And the reason they exploit it is because they can. Just because you have power doesn't make you a great leader. Knowing and using knowledge effectively and mentoring others and delegating is what makes you a leader. Not saying that I have power for anything and I can just execute it. That's a threat. No one wants to be with a leader that threatens. They want to work with a leader that's going to empower each other and become a great team. I hope you guys have enjoyed the JMOR Tech Talk Show. We're on every single Friday night, and you guys can always catch our reruns as well if you miss it. But definitely check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing creations. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to see you guys next week. So I've got to run, but check out believemeachieve.com for more of my amazing creations. And I have a lot of great articles coming up. I'm going to give you a hint. There's an article coming up next week about AI. I'll give you a slight hint where it's going. It's in agriculture. You're not going to want to miss it. It will blow your socks off. Have yourself an amazing rest of the night, amazing morning, and we'll see you guys next Friday. Be well, everyone.